Hi everyone, this is Reynolds and Trank from the Gwinnett County Public Library, and welcome to Cooking Around the World, where we teach you recipes from around the world and how to make them. Today we'll be looking at bao, which are steamed buns that come from northern China but are popular all over the world now. The great part about steamed buns is that you can really fill it in with whatever you'd like, but this is what we'll be using. We're going to start off with some dumpling flour that we got from our local Asian market. The great thing about this is that it's really suited for making these steamed buns, and it has instructions on the back that we'll be following. And we're using ground turkey, but you're free to use whatever type of meat you want. Some traditional forms of meat are pork or chicken. Now we'll be using quail eggs for our recipe, but feel free to use regular chicken eggs if you'd like. You might need to cut them up a little bit just to make them smaller and fit into the steamed buns better. For this recipe, we'll also be using some dried wood ear mushrooms. We can find these at your local Asian market as well, or you can substitute them for a different type of mushroom if you'd like to. We're going to use 2 onions for this recipe, some sugar, white distilled vinegar, oil, and then finally milk. Here's what we'll be using to make our steamed bun. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this or write it down if you need to. Now our packaging for our dumpling flour already comes with everything we need, but it'll have the 2 yeast packets, so we'll get started with that first. And what we're going to do is cut it open, and then we're going to mix it up. So we don't want our buns to be too sweet, so we're just going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, but you can add a second one if you'd like. Then we're going to add our milk. And so this is just 2 cups of milk. Now just mix it all around. Once it's all nice and mixed, that's how you'll know you're done, and then we can start adding our flour. Now when you go to add your flour, you want to make sure to leave some behind for when you're forming your dough later. We're adding our flour straight into our mixture right now. If it's easier for you, you can always add your mixture into your flour once you put it into a separate bowl. Now you just carefully mix till it's all combined. Now once you see it start taking the form of an actual dough, you can go ahead and take it out of the bowl if you like and mix it onto a cutting board or any surface so it's not going to stick to. We still have a good bit of flour left, so we're not too worried about it sticking right now. And just go ahead and continue to mix it all up. Once you've got a nice smooth ball, you'll know that your dough is ready, and then we're going to add our oil. What we're going to do is we're going to form a little well for it right in the middle of the dough, and we'll add about 3 tablespoons of oil. And once you've added that oil in, we're just going to mix it all around again. Try and keep it all in the dough mixture. Once we mix that around a little bit, we're going to take our extra flour and we're just going to dump it on our surface, and we're going to go and coat our dough with it 1 more time, and then we'll be able to set it aside to rest for about an hour. With our dough put aside, we're going to go ahead and rehydrate our wood ear mushrooms by just soaking them in some water for about 15 minutes. Just make sure they all get submerged. Then we'll move on to our filling. We're going to use our ground turkey for this filling. Like we said earlier, you can feel free to use chicken or pork or anything you'd like for it. We just prefer turkey. We've gone ahead and diced our onions, and we're going to go ahead and mix them in with our ground turkey. Once again, for this recipe, you can use whatever you'd like. We prefer onions. If you'd like to add green onions or anything like that, you can always add different vegetables to this mixture. One thing you might want to do is cook them first, perhaps in the microwave, just to get all the water out for when you're steaming them later. You don't want to have too much water in your mixture. We're going to season our turkey with some pepper and some salt. Once you've seasoned your meat to your liking, you can go ahead and start mixing it up. And once you've gotten all mixed, you can set it aside for later. So we'll go ahead and start boiling our quail eggs. And what we're going to do is we're going to hard boil them. Now we're just going to make sure to ease these quail eggs in one by one so we don't break any. And we'll set this aside for a minute while we drain our woodier mushrooms. Just want to pop them through the strainer. Once you've popped them through the strainer, go ahead and just give them a nice squeeze just to make sure all the water gets out that you can get out. The less water in your filling, the better when you go to steam them. Once they're dried, we're just going to finely chop them up so you don't have big chunks of anything in your mixture. Now, once you got them finely chopped, we're going to go ahead and add them to our turkey mixture for the filling. And we'll go ahead and mix all that around again and get all nice and incorporated. By this point, we'll go back over and check on our hard-boiled eggs and go ahead and turn them off once they're finished. Now we're going to go ahead and put them into some cold water. What this does, it'll make them set easier and it'll make it easier for us to open them. And go ahead and shell your eggs. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take little handfuls of the mixture and just take the egg and wrap it right up in the center of it. And just form into a ball. Be careful when you're forming it into a ball because you don't want to break that egg inside. Now after about an hour, you'll see that your dough has risen and you'll get to prepare to make your steamed buns. So what we're going to do is we're just going to roll it out into a log, that way we can cut it into relatively equal sized pieces. Now remember, when you're working with your dough, you might need to put a little more flour down just so it doesn't stick to anything. When you're cutting up your dough, be mindful of the size of the filling you rolled into balls earlier, because that filling is going to need to go inside this dough. You might need to make some a little smaller, some a little bigger. Size is really up to you. We do like to keep ours about the size of your palm, maybe a little bigger. With your dough all cut up, we can go ahead and roll it out and prepare it with the filling. Remember, you might need to add just a little bit of flour to keep it from sticking. We've gone ahead and put some saran wrap around our rolling pin just to help it from sticking to that. And you're just going to roll it out really flat, but don't go too flat. Now just remember, this is not about perfection, so your dough doesn't have to be rolled out into perfect circles here. Once we've got it to our desired thinness, we're just going to take the filling and just set it right there in the middle. And then for the technique, you're going to bring it up and kind of pinch it together, right around in a circle. Pinching your steamed buns together like this will give it that nice little look that everyone looks for when they're ordering their steamed buns from a restaurant. Now remember, perfection doesn't always happen. The more you make, the more you'll get used to doing it, and the better the look. Now once you get all of your buns all nice and wrapped up, it's time to steam them. Go ahead and bring your water to a boil to steam the buns, and once it's boiling, we're gonna add a little bit of vinegar. What your vinegar is gonna do here is gonna help keep your dough white. Just a splash of it'll do. So just carefully add your buns in. The preferred method you could steam it would be to have a contraption like this, but however you're comfortable with works. But you want to steam your buns for about 20 minutes. Enough to both get the bun done and the filling. Once ours finished in about 20 minutes, we can go ahead and take them out. You'll see that they got a little bigger than they were when they started, and you have nice, beautiful steamed buns. Hope you enjoyed!